Hi guys, my name's Dave. I just thought I'd do a short video regarding a method I'm using to discharge statutory debts. So we're talking council tax, PCNs, school fines for non-attendance, that sort of thing. I've got a good method that keeps you in honour and gets them in dishonour. But you have to be mindful when you use it that if they choose to honour your payment, then you must hand the money over to them. So basically, as you know, with these statutory debts that are imposed, there is no contract, and they'll happily tell you that they're acting under a statutory right to charge. So if you look on the Bank of England website, just look up Bank of England legal tender. There's a page that tells you what legal tender is, and it states that it must be accepted for non-contractual debt when offered. Now, if you think about it, when these bills come through your post from the council, and even the utility companies, because they quite happily state that they don't have a contract either. You'll see that usually on the back page it gives you payment methods, that being direct debit, bank transfer, post office, PayPoint, that sort of thing. Now, these are just the favoured methods of you to discharge the debt, but you don't have to use those. There is another payment method, which is legal tender directly to them. Now, the arguments that you can use are, and I think they're very effective, is where is your obligation to contract with these third-party financial intermediaries? There isn't one. And where is your obligation to perform banking and accounting services on their behalf? Unpaid banking and accounting services, that is. You're not employed by the council or these utility companies, so why should you do those services for them? They should put the money in the bank, if to discharge the debt and to settle the balance on the ledger. So what I'm finding is quite effective is actually making the offer in the full exact amount of legal tender directly to them at their office. Now, this method has worked, and I'll explain a couple of examples of when it worked. So a friend of mine was having problem with his local council for I think it was £200 that he was struggling to pay, and they were messing him around. And I said, look, why don't you just go down there with the full exact amount in legal tender and take two friends with you and offer it to them. So he did, and he went down there and he recorded it all, and he was in there for about an hour or so. Someone eventually came down and they just refused to accept it. Now, that portion of the council tax debt seems to have vanished. They're not chasing him for that anymore, because under the principles of legal tender, when you offer payment using that, which must be honoured in England and Wales, and they refuse, they then lose their power to enforce the debt, basically. So that was one instance. Then another time was a friend of mine. She had a solicitor coming after her for quite a substantial amount of money for a debt for work that they did for the council when they tried to bankrupt her over council tax. They sent her a letter saying, can you put the money in this account? So I suggested, why don't we go down there, me, you and someone else, with the full exact amount. And she sent a notice stating that we would be there within a week later, on the actual deadline day when it was due, and that we were there to make the offer of payment for the full amount. So we went down there a week later, and we were in there for 40-50 minutes speaking to one of the authorised representatives, and he refused to take it. We recorded it all. We then sent she sent a further couple of notices. The last one was a stop-on notice, and that was back in December now, when we went down to offer payment, and it seems to have vanished. So it is quite powerful. I've recently done the same thing for council tax. Gone down to the local council with 2 witnesses in there for 50 minutes. They wouldn't even come down. I had to speak on the phone. One of the agents didn't even know what legal tender was. They also got confused between a point of sale transaction and a non-contractual debt. Now, with point of sale transactions, whoever the vendor is can accept whatever they want. They can accept Smarties or Pebbles or whatever. They can, whatever they want for payment, they can choose to accept that. If it says card only, then if you put legal tender down, they can refuse it because it's a point of sale transaction. But when it comes to debt, that's a different matter, because especially non-contractual debt, because there's no agreement of payment terms or anything. So if you offer directly to them the legal tender in front of 2 witnesses and they refuse, they lose their power to enforce the debt, basically. And they can't say that you've not tried to pay, because you have, and you've done that in front of 2 witnesses. So this is something that we should be trying, because we're willing to pay, but we're paying on our terms and using legal tender. If they don't want to accept that, then that's their problem. It's not ours. At least we've made the attempt, and we can document that with witness statements. So what I'd suggest is you form into groups of people that are willing to do this. Then when someone gets a statutory debt through the door that says, right, I need a couple of witnesses to go, and we'll get the cash, the full amount in legal tender at the bank, and we'll go down there and offer payment. So you just need 2 people available to come down with you at the time. And the problem they've got with this is they don't want to be held accountable, these agents, in their personal and private capacities. That's why they hide behind letters and emails and telephone calls. The last thing they want is you going down there with the full amount in legal tender. It's like kryptonite to them. Because they've got that corporate shield, haven't they? And they've got to stay behind it. And plus the legislation and the third-party financial intermediaries. This method of offering legal tender cuts through all of that. It holds them to account, and they don't like it. So, yeah, it's tried and tested, and I think more people should be trying this. Remain in honour and offer to settle in legal tender, the full exact amount. It has to be the full exact amount, and coins, it's only up to certain denominations. You can have as many £1 coins and £2 coins as you want, but under that, it's only up to certain denominations. And you could just draw it out of the bank, keep the receipt. You've got proof that you had the exact amount. Then you could put it back if they don't accept it, but keep that receipt from when you withdrew it, and that's your proof that you did have the full exact amount to give them. So yeah, I think this is a good remedy to try. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.